The new tariffs announced by the Trump administration are raising a number of serious concerns, particularly about the immediate and long-term effects they will have on American consumers and the broader economy. The math behind these tariffs, while presented as a straightforward strategy to close the trade deficit, reveals a more troubling reality: price hikes, economic instability, and potential retaliatory measures from other countries. One of the key issues with the new tariffs is the direct and significant rise in prices that consumers will face. The administration's own calculations suggest that for every 10% increase in tariffs, the price of affected goods will go up by 2.5%. This may seem like a small percentage, but when applied to everyday products, the impact is much more substantial. For example, a 67% tariff on Chinese imports would result in a 16.75% increase in the price of Chinese goods in the U.S. This means that products such as electronics, clothing, and machinery, which are heavily sourced from China, will see steep price hikes that consumers will have to absorb. Such price increases are not only inconvenient, but can be financially burdensome, particularly for families already struggling with the rising cost of living. While President Trump has repeatedly claimed that these tariffs would not lead to higher prices or that he couldn't care less about price increases, the reality is quite the opposite. His own economists acknowledge that tariffs do, in fact, raise prices, and that higher prices will discourage American consumers from purchasing foreign products. This creates a significant problem, as it not only reduces consumers' purchasing power, but also disrupts markets and industries that rely on affordable imports. Consumers will be forced to either pay more for the same goods or seek out more expensive alternatives. For products like electronics, which have already seen price increases due to tariffs on Chinese-made components, the added burden could push some consumers to delay purchases or cut back on discretionary spending, further slowing the economy. The broader economic consequences of these tariffs are also concerning. While the Trump administration's formula assumes that tariffs will help close the trade deficit by reducing imports, the reality may be more complicated. The reduction in demand for foreign products may lead to a decrease in consumer choice and a rise in the cost of goods, but it will not necessarily lead to an immediate or sustainable boost in domestic manufacturing. Moreover, the tariffs may provoke retaliatory measures from other countries, leading to a trade war that further escalates prices and harms American businesses that depend on exports. These retaliatory tariffs could disproportionately affect industries like agriculture and automotive manufacturing, where American products are heavily exported. Another significant problem with the administration's tariff formula is the overly simplistic nature of its assumptions. The formula treats all goods and all countries the same, without considering the nuanced impact that tariffs may have on different sectors of the economy. For instance, while some goods like electronics or clothing may see price hikes, others, such as raw materials or food, may be affected in entirely different ways. The formula also assumes that only a quarter of the tariff costs will be passed on to consumers, but previous experience with tariffs, particularly on steel and aluminum, suggests that the full burden will likely be felt by American buyers. This discrepancy in the administration's assumptions points to a lack of understanding of the complex dynamics at play in global trade. Furthermore, the administration's reliance on these tariffs to close the trade deficit ignores other, more effective strategies. Closing the trade deficit is a complex challenge that cannot be solved by tariffs alone. Economic growth, technological innovation, and improved international relationships play a much larger role in reducing the trade deficit than imposing taxes on imports. By focusing so heavily on tariffs, the administration risks damaging global trade relationships and exacerbating economic instability at home. In conclusion, while the Trump administration may believe that its tariff policies will help balance the trade deficit and protect American industries, the negative consequences are likely to be far-reaching. The price hikes that consumers will face, combined with potential retaliation from other countries and the broader economic disruption, could leave American families worse off. These tariffs, which are touted as a solution to a complex problem, may end up causing more harm than good, especially for those who can least afford to pay higher prices. The administration's simplistic approach to global trade risks undermining the very goals it aims to achieve, potentially leading to long-term economic damage.